Welcome to the Dibley Diaries for this week. This week is the third Sunday of Advent. It's when we traditionally have, in some churches, there's a pink candle on the Advent wreath. In some places, people wear pink vestments. Now, I'm not sure whether this week the church I'm going to has pink vestments, but I will be putting them on if they do, and if they're in a good enough condition to wear. To be fair, the pink vestments are usually in the best condition because they only get used twice a year. And I've been thinking about some controversy I heard about Advent wreaths this week. I overheard somebody judging a different church community's Advent wreath. Now, sometimes people have 4 red candles for the Advent wreath, and sometimes people have 3 purple candles and a pink candle, and sometimes people have white candles around the edges. But I just was really struck this week about how people felt they could judge this other church community because of the different colour candles in that Advent wreath. And I was really struck by this kind of judgment that happens between church communities over something as simple as which colour candles you use in your Advent wreath. I'm like, this is not a good thing. Let's not do this, everybody. Let's each understand in our own church community why we make the choice for the colours of Advent candles that we do. But don't judge other people about it. This is not important. It's bringing division, and it's looking down on other church communities, and that is not a good thing. Thought for the week this week is based on mainly the Gospel passage, which is set for this Sunday in Advent. So it's from Matthew 11, and it's where John's disciples go and ask Jesus whether he really is the Messiah. It's kind of John is triple checking that Jesus is the Messiah, and what Jesus sends back as the message is really intriguing. Jesus answered them, "Go and tell John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have good news brought to them. Blessed is anyone who takes no offence at me." So that's Jesus' reply, and it leans very heavily on 2 passages from Isaiah. one of which we have today set in our readings, and this is the bit from Isaiah 35. "Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the speechless sing for joy." That's one of the passages. That's all very cheery, isn't it? And then the other passage that it leans on is the one from Isaiah 61. "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me. He sent me to bring good news to the oppressed, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and to release the prisoners." Jesus doesn't say anything about prisoners, even though John is sending this message from prison. John is sending this message from prison, and Jesus does not say that he will set John free. And that's kind of what I've been struggling with this week because, spoilers, because John stays in prison, he dies. He gets caught up in particular politics of the Herod dynasty, and John dies. And Jesus could have set him free. Jesus could have set him free, but he does not, and he does not promise to. He does not promise to set John free. And I don't know why that is. Why did Jesus not do that? I mean, we know that Jesus even raised people from the dead, Lazarus and the son of the widow of Nain and Jairus' daughter. He could have set John free from prison, but he does not. And so we end up in that difficult question, why does a good God allow suffering? Advent is a penitential season. We're all supposed to be engaged in some sort of fasting, whether that's positive or giving something up or taking something up. And it's in this time that we struggle with these themes, with life and death and Jesus coming back, and all these big themes. And today I'm thinking about, well, what does that look like? What does that look like that John is not freed from prison? How do I feel about that? And to be honest, I don't feel great about that. I don't understand why Jesus couldn't have done it. But Advent's about finding a bigger view that he can look down on the whole world and on the cosmos. Christmas is going to be a cosmos changing event. Jesus is born, but then we follow through to Easter. Jesus dies, is resurrected, ascends, and then we have Pentecost. This is all part of the path where we are going to be reconciled with God. God does not save Jesus, although arguably he could, and some people thought that he was going to. And Jesus does not save John. And there are many cases where there is suffering where we do not understand the suffering. It confuses us. We have to fight our battle with God about it. And I guess one of the questions that I will take to God eventually and continue to struggle is, well, why didn't John live? But then Jesus didn't live either. But it's in Advent we look at it, it's all part of this journey to understand that in the end, suffering is not the final outcome. Suffering is not the final outcome. Death is the ultimate healing and reconciliation with God for eternity is what Jesus is bringing. And whilst I might want Jesus to have rescued John from prison, in the end Jesus will have rescued everyone into eternity with God. The Dibley moment of the week this week is something which happened to me many years ago now when I was wearing a pink party dress. I was thinking about it, I was thinking about Pink Sunday. The pink party dress didn't have any shoulders, it was off the shoulder dress, and the party I was at, quite a posh party, someone rested a large platter of freezing cold fruit salad on my shoulder in the middle of this party, and now I don't wear pink party dresses anymore because every time I think about it I just think of that really cold situation where I had a really frozen platter of fruit salad on my shoulder. In retrospect it was quite funny and would have been a very comedic moment in the Vicar of Dibley is something similar. Well, that's it for the Dibley Diaries for this week. I pray that you and your village, however large or small, have a really blessed week as you look forward to celebrating the coming of Jesus.